found today, and how have you found the Kirklees crowd?
Fantastic. I mean, you call it the Kirklees crowd.
What is it?
Right, the Huddersfield crowd. That's what I kind of knew it as. They asked me to come up and do this show in Huddersfield to compare it and do some of what I do, which is comedy, and keep things rolling along as best as possible. Well, I've been here to Huddersfield before, down to the community centre. I think it's the African Caribbean Centre. I can't remember what the Hadawi. I knew it had an acronym. And I found when I went there at the time, I had a fantastic time. People were lovely, full of heart, and like many Caribbean people, I won't say just Jamaicans, although this is a Jamaican celebration, there's a lot of people from other parts of the Caribbean. You know, when you're out of your homeland, so to speak, you really want to celebrate your culture that much more. And I think that's certainly true in Huddersfield. And I've been here before. I've played at Lawrence Backley and done shows in the area, in Yorkshire and around and stuff. And I've always found that my people, no matter where we are, even if we're here in the hills and dales and it gets cold, we like to warm ourselves with our culture. Fantastic, great fun. Everybody was really lovely, enjoyed themselves, and it was just a nice time. And for me, it's really important that people see this, especially in Britain, where generally, you know, of course we have things like the riots in London and then all over the rest of the country and stuff. And people have an impression of black people from the Caribbean and stuff. And of course, this was a case of diversity coming together. Just having a nice time, enjoying ourselves, eating some good food, drinking some nice rum and beer, you know, soup. And then just enjoying the music and the laughter and the comedy and the cultural dance and stuff like that. Wonderful.
Fantastic. How important is Jamaican independence in a global context? When you talk of race, gender, countries, from Africa to Caribbean, how important do you think Jamaican independence is in that global context?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because people use the term developing world, and it's part of that development because some people are still part of the Commonwealth. Some have left the Commonwealth. Some have become republics and don't want to bow to the Queen, so to speak. And I think that I remember an argument a long time ago when the Caribbean were looking to create their own Privy Council, a court of appeal, because for a long time, if there was a legal decision that had to be, you know, you appeal to the Privy Council here in Britain, which meant there was always that fact that we were looking to the old colonial power, to Mrs. Queen, to the white people, to all of that kind of thing. And as time has changed, and over 50 years, half a century, Jamaica has developed seriously in that now the Caribbean Court of Appeal is there, there's more sovereignty within our own nations, and Jamaica, and Trinidad this year as well is 50 years of independence. And there are other African nations who I think are older in their independence from Britain. Uganda 50 years, but I think is it Malawi or I can't remember which one, Mali, one of the older countries. You know, there's some other lengths of time and stuff. But I think it's a marker that we've come 50 years. We have improved, and I think Caribbean is different to any other part of the world for the simple reason that it's no longer inhabited by the indigenous population who are there, who are the Amerindians. So all the people who are there in the Caribbean were brought across during the Middle Passage, came from Europe through or up from South America due to the Spanish Inquisition, whatever it is, lots of different reasons. So it's a new, although we're talking 400 years or 500 years or whatever it is, it's still a new culture in comparison to the rest of the world. And now, 50 years in charge of our own destiny, it's incredibly important. I won't be around, you know, another 50 years' time, obviously. Well, it would be nice, wouldn't it, you know? But when I'll be talking sense is another matter. But what we will do is we will, I think, see this as, of course, look at tonight. We're watching, you know, how well we have done in sport, you know, but we also have music, culture. I think it is important, and we must remember that when you talk globally, it used to be Bob Marley that put us on the map. Everybody knew Bob Marley. And now, Usain Bolt, I mean, you know, and it's fantastic. You know.
What message would you like to leave to the next generation of Jamaican descendants? You know, 50 years, 7 national heroes, we're here now 50 years on.
It's interesting, I mean, having born in Jamaica, come to England, gone back to Jamaica, spent a long time back home, 15 years then, come back over here. I've been here now in London, in England, or Great Britain for the last decade. And in going back down to Jamaica, I noticed that it's not about what we have to say or what we have to do. People have changed. Through those generations, people have started to... it used to be when I was back home in Jamaica, during the last period, during the 80s and the 90s, it was what we call the barrel mentality. where you're always waiting for money coming from overseas, clothes, soap, powder, all of these things from overseas. Now, the generation that has grown up and who are adults now, they're not so reliant on overseas. They know that Jamaica is an important cultural and economic in the Caribbean base, and and they are comfortable in their own skin as Jamaicans. They're not looking to get an education and then go to America, or go to America, get an education and stay and send back money, you know. And people are looking and saying, England, yeah, we can go there, but you know something? We prefer to stay at home and be Jamaicans in our own country, where, because say someone who's light-skinned, you know, and goes to America or Britain, you have the one drop in there. You're black in Jamaica. Oh, you're just red. We are out of many one people, and so you face a lot less pressures through race and a lot of socialization issues that people have outside of their country. I think already, regardless of me sending a message, people are realizing that a sense of self, a sense of identity of our own is very, very important. I think in actual fact, we've proven that there's always a case of when we're good, and when we're bad. But certainly when we're good, we are really good. You know, we have some incredible philosophers like Malcolm Gladwell. You know, we have athletes like Bolt. We have people who we don't even know who are behind the scenes, who are very wealthy people who own banks. One of the richest men in Canada is a Jamaican Chinese guy. You know, and people don't necessarily, he doesn't want to push himself up too much. You see the size of his boat, it's the size of some islands, right? So, you know, I mean, so I think as long as we're on that same path, and with things like tonight, not just the independence of Jamaica 50, yes, of course that, but also the being known internationally for doing things in a positive fashion, I think creates that sense of strength within us. And you know, as Jamaicans, we're, you know, some people might call it arrogance. I call it a sense of strength and self. You know, we know who we are. And as long as that continues along those lines, and I am confident that it will, then I think that will be cool, you know.
Favorite food? What's your favorite food?
Boy, that's a tough one, you know, because there's so much. I mean, I'm Jamaican, so you know, if it didn't have chicken in there, you know, there's something wrong with it. So I would say that of the old Jamaican foods, I would say that probably chicken soup. You know, good old-fashioned chicken soup. But you know, man, when people are making red pea soup and you have pot bottom in there, and then take the spoon and go down the bottom of the red pea soup, and I don't mind if it have pork in there. You know, so I'm not one of those people who worry about that. So I enjoy all of that. One of the fruits I enjoy, the Otaheite apple. That's one of my favorite fruits. You know, some people don't understand it, but I love that fruit when it's cold, straight out of the fridge. My God, and mango. I don't even know if the mango originated in Jamaica. I think maybe it came from East India or something like that. But man, that is the sweetest thing. And all food. Look at me. I enjoy all food. All right. My favorite saying, the Jamaican proverb. You mean? Well, let me tell you something. You go all over the world, and people, they hail you up in different ways, right? You know, you get the Asian people who they will go namaste. Japan very similar, konnichiwa. You know, they do that. You know, Italians then wave backward, ciao. You know, England is a different thing. Them start go way like that. You know? I mean, I'm not sure if you can use that part there, right? But you know what they're saying. Even the Queen is doing the same thing to people. You know what I'm saying? But in Jamaica, we show you love. We say blessed loveliness, guidance, honor, one love. My name is Tony, Jamaican Paleface Hendriks. Respect.
Respect you, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Bless us. Him say respect Jew. I never say I was a Jew. I'm a Jamaican.